Test, mic 1.
Second practice, pulling a slider.
Test, mic 2.
Touch zone, good, sweep. Slide up. Let's really sweep on draws.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are just a few minutes away from the start of our quarterfinal draw here at the 2026 College National Championships in Schenectady, New York. Right now the time is 7:21 Eastern Time, so for those of you on the East Coast, 7:21. For those of you who may be watching our feature game from, I don't know, perhaps University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, so Wisconsin or Minnesota, you may be on Midwest time, so we're approaching 6:20 p.m. your time, or actually 6:21 p.m. your time. We should be in for an absolute classic here tonight in the quarterfinals. It is a rematch of a pool play game that just happened earlier this morning, or earlier this afternoon rather. Two teams battled it out all the way to the end, came down to the final shot, with Castleton emerging victorious over the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. So we will have the game here on the feature sheet, sheet 4, between the Spartans and the Pointers when we return after this practice ends here from Castleton. Well, it looks like we actually may be starting a little early tonight. All teams are ready. All teams have completed their practice. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Brad Johnson on the call tonight. I may be joined in a little bit by some guest commentators, but for right now I am solo here. I will be covering this quarterfinal action at the 2026 USA Curling Nationals, College Nationals. Game tonight between the Castleton University Spartans out of Vermont and the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point Pointers, obviously out of Wisconsin. Those two teams did come out of the same pool and emerged. They happen to, just based on seeding, play each other again in this round. They had an excellent game. They actually were the concluding game of their pool play, with Castleton emerging victorious. I believe the score was 10-7 of that game, but it came down to a final end. I expect much of the same now in the quarterfinals here that we have on sheet 4. So it should be in for a treat. As the games progress, we will be checking in on some of the other action of the other sheets. So we have over on sheet 3, we have another rematch of a pool play game between Bowdoin and Omaha, Nebraska. On sheet 1, we'll jump all the way over to 1, we have the Battle of Pennsylvania, Penn State versus University of Pennsylvania. And on sheet 2, we have the two-time defending national champion University of Wisconsin-Madison team taking on the upstart Colorado State University Rams, who went 3-0 in their pool. So we should have some great games on all 4 sheets. We will be checking in, but stay with me here on sheet 4. This will be our feature game between Castleton and Stevens Point. One thing I will say for those who are on the live chat, I see there are 14 of us right now. I'm one of them, so 13 others besides myself. Feel free to drop a message where you're watching this from, who you're cheering for, any questions you may have throughout the game, any concerns, any input you'd like. We'd be happy to address those. I'll have the chat up, so I will be addressing those live. Hopefully we will have a good, enjoyable experience for viewers of all levels. I know that we have some that are beginners, just don't necessarily know the rules of the game yet, and we have plenty that are experienced curlers or even teammates of some of the people that are playing tonight. So whatever level you're at, please feel free to drop a comment in. I know that particularly from University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, I have a few friends who actually curl out of that the club at Stevens Point, so I'll give a shout out to them probably in a little bit. But regardless, want to hear from everyone in the chat, so feel free to be vocal, don't be shy, and we'll try to get to any comments that there are. So tonight's matchup between Castleton and University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, matchup, as I mentioned before, between two teams in the same pool. The winner of the pool obviously was the winner of that game. That was Castleton University. So they had the choice in this game to choose color rocks, and I believe their choice of hammer as well. I did not hear yet what that choice was, so we'll see as the stones come out. I would assume they would want to start with the hammer advantage, but some teams don't, so we'll have to keep an eye out on that. I have been informed, but thank you very much, I've been informed by the timer to my right that Castleton will start with the hammer in the first end, and so on the clock will be University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. It looks like they've started the 1 minute timer to begin play, so we should see stones thrown very soon. And let's introduce the pointers out of Stevens Point. So their lead for this evening's game will be Ryan Wojcik. Their vice, who is throwing second rocks, is Sierra MacArthur. Their third is Charlie Oster. And their skip, throwing fourth rocks, is Dan Garretts. They also have an alternate, Ben Bloom, who will be there in case of injury or any need of substitution, as they see. But right now, getting in the hack is Ryan Wojcik, who will be delivering the lead stone any minute now. It looks like skip Dan Garretts is calling for an intern centerline guard, and we are now underway. Stevens Point throwing red rocks, as you see. Castleton will be throwing yellow rocks in tonight's game. And rock seems to be carrying fairly nicely. It looks like this is actually going to go in the house. And looks like it's going to stop inside the 4 foot, just behind the tee line. Not a bad initial shot right here. And let's see what Castleton chooses to do with that. It looks like they're, based on the broom and placement, it looks like they're probably going to be calling a hit. Or I did not say it. It is possible that they called for that draw to the wing. Actually, looking at the weight now, it looks like that's what they called, either a corner guard or a draw to the wing. So they're going to ignore that first stone that was thrown in there in the wings. If it was a guard, they would have had to have ignored it, but since it was in the house, they had the option of hitting if they wanted to. Chose instead to throw what looks like to be a corner guard here. So it looks like they're going to be aggressive here on this first end. Castleton wants to set something up, kind of direct play away from the center. So some of you who may be new to curling who are watching this game may be wondering why you would not want to go to the center if you're the team that's throwing rocks second, or the hammer team, as Castleton is right now. The goal, generally speaking, when you have the hammer, is to try to score multiple points. And so if you just throw to the center, the other team's going to throw to the center. You may also just, if it's, in the house and you just start trading hits back and forth, it's going to be really hard to craft offense to get multiple points. So typically speaking, you want to start to build up points towards the wings, towards the edges, the extremities. Stones that really leave open the middle for you if you have the hammer, so you can, A, if things go wrong, have an easy shot to at least get your one at the end, and B, if things go right, get multiple points at the end with just a relatively straightforward shot because you have so many stones built up on the sides, on the wings. There are other strategies. The strategy with hammer can definitely be a little complex, so some teams like to play to the center regardless whether they have hammer or not. But it seems like Castleton was willing to go to the sides. So this stone here, this second stone from lead from Castleton, goes just a little deep. Lead is Jess Hansard from Castleton. So it looks like they were trying to maybe just get a little bit of bump on that red rock on the side of the 4 foot. Not the center one, obviously, but the one on the side that's partially under that corner guard, but just didn't quite get there. Draw would have been acceptable too for corner freeze, anything like that. Just a little deep, but still early in the game, and if you're the hammer team, it's not necessarily going to hurt you. And we have first rocks here from second of University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. That's Sierra MacArthur. She's actually playing vice for this team, so she'll be holding the broom during skip rocks, and also discussing shots with the skip when the skip is ready to throw their stones at the end of each end. Now this is the second here from Castleton, and that is Tanner Schufo. Looks like he's throwing an out-turn draw. So it looks like Castleton is content to play more towards the center here. It doesn't look like they're trying to throw any weight to really do anything with that center guard that was put there by by University of Wisconsin Stevens Point. So willing to play to the center, especially because there was a stone behind the tee line. That first stone that was thrown in the game is behind the tee line, so you have backing, as we call it in curling. So if you were a little heavy, you could have just bumped off it. If you threw a perfect draw, well, now it's what we call a freeze right on top of that red, and it's very difficult for the opposing team to get out. However, it came up a little bit short, and so this end is starting to play towards the tempo or the pace, the style that University of Wisconsin Stevens Point wants to play without hammer. Wants to keep it a tight house game, and this is a beautiful, beautiful looking draw from Sierra there. Excellent draw from Sierra. Ends up just getting around that high yellow on the top 12. So right now, Stevens Point without hammer is already threatening Castleton, sitting 3, without really anything openly exposed and easy to hit. So seeing that, Skip Remy Maynard will let the team take out the rocks, try to open it up. This is peeling a guard, as we call it. And this is actually a fantastic shot to start to move rocks around. Really, the end wasn't shaping out the way that the hammer team wanted to go. It's never a bad idea to open it up when you have the hammer in particular. So really effective rock there to take out the guard, take out their top 12 rock, and actually the top 12 rock is now sitting on the edge of the 12-foot where University of Wisconsin Stevens Point is likely to ignore that. And for Castleton, they can start to try to work back towards getting those red rocks that are both in the 4-foot or biting the 4-foot at the very least from Wisconsin Stevens Point. Shot on the way here from the pointers. And it looks like the shot from Charlie Oster is going to work as a guard, relatively effective guard. Again, starting to dictate play more towards the center again. That's what you typically want to do when you don't have the hammer. Castleton seems to be content to trying to draw around that wide guard. The risk here is obviously if you're light, you do have the risk of tapping up the red rock there, but if you hit it at a little bit of an angle and you open it up more, that's not a bad miss. Looks like they're trying hard to push this rock over. It looks like they actually were calling, so my mistake, it looks like they were actually calling for that angle raise hit on that stone out there. Definitely with the weight they threw, that looks like what it was. So certainly an aggressive call, just slightly too narrow. They tried to hold it, but couldn't seem to get that to work. Maybe they were trying an in off their own stone. Fortunately, they are not mic'd up, so I don't know definitively what the shot call was there, but it was definitely either an in off or it was a angle run on that stone there. And we are now up to, looks like 35 listeners, so glad to have you on here. I'll reiterate what I said at the beginning. Happy to have anyone hop in on the live chat. Any questions, concerns, heckles, anything like that. Honestly, just if you want to report where you're listening from and who you're rooting for, would love to hear it. But otherwise, really happy to have everyone here listening and watching what should be a great game tonight. Right now, it looks like there is a patch in the ice that is being checked out. As you may see, there is a USA curling official that is checking out the ice right now. Looks like it's near the board side, so something seems to be irritating. Something seems to be irritating Vice Kaylee Abbott Bishop, but it seems like it's nothing major, and they're proceeding as usual. So this is Kaylee with her second stone of the end. So let's see what this shot ends up being. you are in a little bit of trouble here if you're Castleton. It's a congested house, and there's no obviously open hits. This stone is going to pick that red guard, and depending on where that red guard ends up, it is going to stay in. It's not out counting the rock on the wing there, that the yellow rock that rolled in earlier, but it is still 1, 2, 3. At least that shot did effectively remove that guard from play, so it's still a productive miss. Not the shot that was called, but generally speaking, the goal of curling is call shots that give you positive results. And if you're in the situation that if you're in the situation that Castleton was in right there, that's definitely a productive miss there. So it looks like University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point is going to want to throw up a guard here. They like the position that they're in with sitting 1, 2, 3 behind cover. Really don't want Castleton doubling those 2 red rocks there or having a draw path in. Want to make this as difficult as possible for the Castleton University squad. So guard on the way. You can see this is, well, you can't see yet, but you will see on your screen shortly. This is pretty down weight. It's just going to get over the hog line. That's a guard, as we call it in curling. It does look like it's over curling a little bit, so it's not fully going to get across. It was nice to actually get that little bump on the yellow stone to keep it as wide as possible. It does look like that hit that Castleton tried before is still there. If they choose to go after it there, at least get a rock or 2 out of play. Definitely be helpful here. As if you're Castleton, you really don't want to give up an early big steal. Any steal is obviously not ideal, but certainly giving up a 3 when you had the hammer advantage, the advantage for winning your pool here that they chose, definitely puts you behind to start the game. So I'll Skip and Vice. Obviously, this is a big situation, so it looks like they're going to talk this over a little bit. Kaylee and Remy Maynard are going to talk this shot over a little bit. Looks like actually they want to run back that yellow rock, so they actually want to hit. If you look at where the broom is placed, they want to hit on that side of the stone, the yellow stone that's on the inside, the one that's basically just touching that center line. They want to hit the outside of that and run it back towards those reds in the middle. So definitely an aggressive call here. Definitely something that could work out really favorably. You could get yellow in there nicely. It probably is the best option to sit shot after this shot, but definitely the angle's got to be perfect here, or pretty close to perfect. Sweeper, the outside sweeper is sweeping it, which means they want to make it curl more, so it means it's a little wide. And that's actually a really nice shot right there. That is a perfect shot. And Remy Maynard is pumped up with that shot right there. Just a great, unbelievably well-executed shot. Well-executed shot there by Remy Maynard right there. Just to angle run that guard, double the 2 reds out. That's an excellent looking shot right there. So red is still sitting shot. It does look like red is still under cover, but that is an unbelievably good shot to at least make it so that it looks like this is not going to be a big stealing end for the pointers of University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. So Skip, Dan Garrett's getting in the hack, ready to throw his last rock here. So shot call here can vary depending on what your philosophy is. It looks like they're going to actually try to throw something to double those 2 yellow stones out on the side there. So what that indicates to me is that Stevens Point is willing to just make this a pressure cooker shot, as we call it. It does only get 1 stone out, doesn't get both. But the point of that shot there was not necessarily to steal more points. It'd be great if they did. It was more of, we're going to try to double your yellow stones out, sit 3, and make you make a shot for 1. So basically, best case scenario, you get 1. Worst case scenario, we get 3. So that was basically the point of that double call there. It ended up hanging a little wide, so they didn't quite get the double. So now if Remy Maynard and Castleton University can find a way to poke out that red that they're hovering over right now, they can get 2 here, and it looks like they are going to go for it. It is a tight-looking shot. It's a inside-out type of shot where they're actually going to come down with a out-turn. Out-turn for a right-handed player is a counterclockwise turn. They're going to come down the center, try to get in between those 2 stones. They can't be wide enough where they stay wide and on the center line hit that red, but they can't overcurl and hit that yellow guard of their own. They really just want to get in between, curl into that red, and bump that red back out of play. And if they can do that, they will get their 2 points here, which is always the goal when you're the Hammer team. Stone on the way from Remy Maynard. It looks a little heavy and wide, so they have the sweeper on the center line trying to push it, get as much curl out of it as possible. It doesn't look like it wants to curl at all, and it ends up just taking out that guard. So at the end of 1, it looks like a steal of 1 point, and 1 point only. Nothing more damaging for Castleton there for the University of Wisconsin Stevens Point Pointers. And we have on the chat Trevor Wysocki, a name I'm familiar with, a good friend of mine. Happy to have you on, Trevor. Trevor, a legendary curler in the 5 and under scene, out of Stevens Point Curling Club. The only thing better than his curling game is his ability to handle many beverages. That's the only thing I think I know of that he can do better than curl. He does both things unbelievably well. Let's take a look at some of the other scores after 1 end. So it looks like over on sheet 1, the Battle of Pennsylvania, UPenn versus Penn State. UPenn in red scored 2 in the first end, so we'll keep an eye on that. Sheet 2 is the two-time defending national champion Badgers of Wisconsin, at Wisconsin-Madison, that is, taking on Colorado State. Doesn't look like they hung the first end, or no, it does. They blanked it. Looks like they blanked it over in the second end, so 0-0 over there. And right now it looks like Madison's sitting strong position there. And over in the third end, it looks like the Omaha, Nebraska Mavericks are ahead of the Bowdoin squad by a score of 1-0 after 1 end. Back to our feature game here. So once again, University of Wisconsin Stevens Point puts a stone right in the center. This one's, again, not in the free guard zone, but Castleton, again, seems to be choosing to ignore it. Not going to hit it, but instead going to try to throw a nice draw to the wings. This looks a little heavy for a draw. We'll see if it comes down. Sweepers are waiting as long as they can. It is coming down. It's actually really well managed by the sweepers there. So they're just going to draw into the wing. They're going to ignore that stone, top 12. And let's see what skip Dan Garretts wants to do here. Looks like he wants to take it out, and he immediately calls that. So it looks like the strategy here for University of Wisconsin Stevens Point is basically we're willing to trade hits with you, and we are willing to play a more defensive style game and try to get a force here. A force means when you don't have hammer, basically letting the other team, the team with hammer, getting their 1 point. So if they had hit there and stuck around, they would have been sitting two shots wide open, exposed, but basically it becomes an end where there's not going to be a blank, which maybe I'll get to later depending on the situations, which is a 0 point end. We saw that on sheet 2, it seems like, between Colorado State and Wisconsin. But once there is no blank, I just want the other team with hammer to just take their 1. They're not going to get multiple points, and I'm going to get the hammer back in the next end, because hammer only flips once a team scores. Once the team with hammer scores, that is. So it looks like Stevens Point is perfectly happy to play the trade hit game. And Castleton, it seems like Kaylee Abbott Bishop, so I stand corrected. Remy Maynard is throwing skip rocks, but it looks like Kaylee is actually the one that is in the house, calling the shots, holding the broom. So she seems content to just trade hits at this point, too. This hit here, ooh, and it does seem to over-curl just a little bit there from vice Sierra MacArthur there. So now, with Castleton having the hammer, Kaylee is more than happy to split the house here, put a stone on the wings, similar to what I was talking about in that first end of trying to get more rocks in play, more towards the extremities of the house, so that essentially those are not necessarily favorable for the non-hammer team to chase after, but also if the end is played to the tempo and pace of the hammer team, it'll work out. However, this ends up working out, and maybe I missed the broom call. It looked like it was a little bit more narrow in terms of the broom than that, but it ends up acting just as a centerline guard. Not necessarily a bad result. It did overcurl a little bit, but that being said, when you are the hammer team, you typically don't want to play too many rocks to the center, and particularly you don't want to throw too many centerline guards if you are the hammer team. So I don't know if that was the called shot there, but I could be mistaken just based on what I saw. Anyways, Sierra does a great job making up for her flash on the last hit with an excellent hit and a little bit of a roll, but it stays in the house here. So got around that guard anyways that was left there. And now looks like Kaylee Abbott Bishop is perfectly content to trade hits here, see if she can get her team to get a big roll, maybe back under that guard. So it's not as easy for the University of Wisconsin Stevens Point team to poke it out of play. So hit is made. However, it doesn't get much of a roll. It kind of just hangs out there. It is now at the point where, since it's peeking out of the 12-foot, hitting the stone does not guarantee that you're actually going to be sitting a counter. Counter meaning it's actually touching any of the paint, and that's the only way you can actually get points. Is you have to be touching, at least at minimum, touching the paint to get any points in curling. So if Stevens Point wants to force Castleton to keep trading hits, they really got to hit and get some sort of roll here to get it to roll into the rings. And this shot here, coming in from Charlie Oster, is exactly what they wanted. Maybe it could have used a little bit more curl, but that hits and it does roll and it stays in the rings. So now Castleton has made the choice. It looks like Remy's holding the broom for a draw behind that guard. So it looks like they're willing to now ignore that guard out on the wing. They have the hammer, so that stone really shouldn't ever affect them. It's an open enough end at this juncture if you're the hammer team, where that stone out there, the red stone, isn't really much of a factor for you. You're not worrying about that actually affecting your ability to score points this end. So they're going to try to draw behind, but it looks like sweepers and crew think this might be a little heavy, and it does look heavy here in the warm room. And it does go through the house, so the draw from Kaylee there does sail a little long. And so now it looks like University of Wisconsin Stevens Point is perfectly willing to draw behind that center guard that was left earlier by Castleton, use that to create a little offense of their own. So what I mean by offense is maybe they have a chance to actually steal some points this end, similar to like the first end, as we were seeing, where they actually looked like they were in the driver's seat for a lot of that until that excellent shot by Remy Maynard that kind of changed that end around. Even though there was still a steal one, the complexion of the end did completely change after that shot from Castleton. This time the end has been pretty open. It's been more of a force style end, as I was mentioning earlier, really just trying to make Castleton take just their one and no more than just one. But now, behind a center guard, perfectly on the button there, it's definitely tightening up that scoring area. It's not an easy hit, as you can see looking down the sheet. If you throw it with any kind of weight and it doesn't curl enough, it's just going to sail wide, or it's going to, if it's narrow, it's just going to hit your guard, which defeats the purpose. So it looks like Castleton's fine with playing a tight house scoring area here. They're going to try to draw on top of that red stone, maybe give it a little bit of a bump, but not too much. This stone also looks heavy and it looks wide, and unfortunately this sails through the house as well. So unfortunate miss there from Kaylee. Now really does give University of Wisconsin Stevens Point a chance here with really chance with their skip here, Dan Garrett's, to put something up high meaning in front of the house or maybe at the very top of the house, to make it incredibly difficult for Castleton to even get their one this end. So this end has completely changed now. From early in the end, it seemed like the skip strategy from Dan Garrett's himself was to try to play for the force, let Castleton get their one, and then you take hammer going into the third end. Now it's game on. Let's try to get some points here. Let's try to get a steal going here. So it looks like this is a nice soft weight here. Sweepers are managing it. It looks like they're going to try to get it to just barely in the house, what we call a counting guard. So basically a stone that's acting as a guard because it's high, but it also, if nothing happens the rest of the end, it will also count as a point. And that is about as perfect of a spot as you can really put that if you're trying to prevent the hit, but also get a point there. Maybe you could have afforded to have it out another inch or two, but maybe that's being greedy, and also it's a bigger target. That's perfectly behind the center guard too. So really, really good shots from the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point here to set up what could be a big steal end and really put some pressure on the Castleton squad. So we got Remy Maynard about to throw his first skip rock here. They do have the hammer, so they have 2 shots to try to get in there. It looks like they're conceding that they're going to try to have to play close to the button here. So this is a draw. Ideally, you get right on top of that red there, and you can sit there. You can give it a tiny bit of a bump, but you got to get around that top red as well. So the line and weight really have to be close to perfect here. Sweepers are on it early. They're trying to hold line as well, meaning they think it's perhaps both light and also curling a lot more than they would like it to. Sweepers are working hard here. Oh, it's diving. It is going to tap that red rock that was just thrown perfectly before by Dan Garrett's. So Dan Garrett's stone does work to effect. They are still sitting 1, 2, 3. They do have a yellow rock in the front that they do have to be somewhat concerned with. Either guard it or take it out. Taking it out is incredibly risky because you could just run it back into your own red and hand Castleton the point that they're looking for here. So it looks like the call right now is to try to guard that yellow. Throw something up high, make it so that it's very difficult for Remy to do anything with that yellow stone he just left there. Force him to basically make a perfect draw. Probably not even for 1 at this point, based on the angle of those stones. I think, yeah. And my colleague here that's watching the game, timing the game, says he's eyeing the double, which definitely I could see, but based on what he threw in that first end. But the goal here, if you're Dan Garrett, is throw something so you do not allow any easy doubles. Maybe even make him rethink that double. Yep. Stone on the way from skip Dan Garrett's. Dan Garrett's a junior, originally from Rothschild, Wisconsin. Major in music education with an emphasis in trombone. Throws a really, really nice guard right there. Notice where that lined up. If you try to do any double on that red to the yellow, it spills the yellow out wide and it never gets to those stones in there. So really what that is assured is that Castleton cannot attempt to hit here, at least on those stones. At that point, you'd be giving up 4, not even just 3. You'd be giving up 4 there. And so even though it ended up tapping that, or even though it ended up not sitting 4th count, it effectively has made this a shot where if he did try it, it would give them 4. So really excellent shot there from Dan Garrett's. And based on the call here with Remy Maynard, it looks like they're going to try, is that an inside out in off? Looks like, yeah. And yeah, try to see if they can get a double. If they throw this with big enough weight, so they can hit that stone out on the wing, on the outside there. If they can come at it with big enough weight, they can hit it, and they can slide almost horizontally to the middle and tap that yellow back. They don't have to get or tap that red back. They don't have to get that red on the button out of play. They just have to bump it enough where they're sitting shot. But this is a very difficult shot. They're hopping back and forth on the sweepers. Line's pretty close. It's in. It bumps the red. It doesn't bump it quite enough. And the yellow actually ends up spinning back. So it ends up being a steal of 2. It does get 1 stone out of play, but it is still a steal of 2 for University of Wisconsin Stevens Point. And so at the end of 2, it is a 3-0 lead for Wisconsin Stevens Point Pointers. And once again, I'll remind everyone in the audience here, we have 47 listeners. Feel free to drop anything in the chat, where you're listening from, who you're rooting for, any questions, concerns, taunts you may have. As I keep saying, feel free. I can take it. Certainly happy to play with the audience here. So certainly feel free to mention what you want in the chat here, and I will be sure to get to it. Let's take a look at some of the other sheets. So it looks like we're getting towards the end of the second end here, with what looks like Penn State with the hammer down to Hammerstone upcoming here. They're sitting 1. Looks like they got a draw here with backing. Backing is good. So it looks like you just really can't miss light here. If you miss a little heavy, that's okay, as long as you don't miss heavy and bump your Yellowstone out so that it's no longer second count. So Eric Welp throwing skip rocks, throwing the draw here, trying to get it to curl just a little bit more, and that's a good looking shot there. Get there too, and they tie that game up with the Battle of Pennsylvania over there. Over on sheet 2, Wisconsin did get a monster end of 5 in the second end here, and they are sitting nicely with a top 12 stone, almost top 4 stone. So Colorado State has their work cut out for them. This is the 2-time defending national champion Wisconsin Badgers squad. They did lose the game in pool play, but it seems like they've definitely gotten their act together, so to say. Sheet 3, it looks like in the third end, Bowdoin responded with a 2-ender of their own. So they're up 2-1 over Omaha, Nebraska, over on sheet 3. We'll definitely keep an eye on that game. That's a rematch of a really good game that we called yesterday that went the distance. I think it was a 10-9 game, so 19 points in 8 ends. Love to see the offense. A lot of fun between those two teams. So we'll come back to our feature sheet here, where we have a stone being thrown now with a 3-0 lead. Ryan Wojcik looks like he's trying to throw a draw behind that yellow corner guard. It looks like it's over curling a little bit, and it's actually going to bump that yellow stone. But it does end up rolling back towards the center. So there are 2 stones there, definitely in a position where a double is there, and it looks like that's exactly the call that Kaylee Abbott Bishop is calling for her lead. The left-handed, her second, the left-handed Tanner Schufo. I believe that's excuse me, that is their lead. That makes more sense. I was gonna say, I could have swore I met Tanner earlier. That's actually their lead, Jess Hansard. Jess's family is watching from Connecticut and Tennessee. Well, good to hear. Good to hear that I just misidentified Jess as Tanner, so my apologies there. Who's on the call for? This is Brad Johnson from Schenectady Curling Club on the call for this one. Maybe joined by a second commentator, perhaps in the second half of this game. But right now, going solo. By the way, excellent shot there from Jess to hit that double. Credit where credit's due. Really excellent shot there. And now we have Tanner Schufo coming up for Castleton. With the flash hit there by Stevens Point, it looks like now Castleton has a chance to really start to craft their offense, maybe for the first time in this game. Really important to get some points here, get some momentum going, maybe flip the hammer around and start to turn the tide of this game. You definitely don't want to get too much in a rut here. I will say, Jess, now that I know that Jess's family is watching, he did specifically want to give a shout out to Savannah, Anna, Mom, and Dad. So I will give the shout out for him on his behalf. We did send out a questionnaire to the individuals ahead of time, these competitors, and he wanted to make sure that we gave that shout out on the broadcast. So that's coming from Jess on Castleton. Tanner Schufo chose the route of giving a shout out to his sister, as well as all the ladies. So that's a good one there. So that's Tanner Schufo, the one who's getting in the hack right now to throw his second rock for Castleton. Really nice shot there from Sierra Weiss for University of Wisconsin Stevens Point. Sierra wants to, did not give any shout outs, but Charlie Oster, who's coming up next, wanted to give a shout out to his parents, his mom and dad. Dan Garrett's, who's throwing skip rocks, wants to shout out his family, friends, and the brothers of Phi Mu Alpha Sinfonia. Anyone who's listening that's supporting that or is in their fraternity, Dan Garrett gives a shout out there. And we have some shout out in the chat as well. Shout out to Megan Taylor, Evergreen Curling Club, and UWSP, University of Wisconsin Stevens Point Curling Legend. I, in my time, have known some curling legends at the University of Wisconsin Stevens Point. Trevor Wysocki being one of them. Josh Wynowski. Of course, Dave Call. Couple legends, good friends of mine at this point. They're all right curlers too, I guess. And unfortunately, we have a flashed hit here from Mr. Oster. So Castleton, with a biter on the wing there, has the ability to really split this, get behind that corner guard. Wide open end. Definitely to the advantage of the hammer team, as I had mentioned in this first end here. Remy Maynard's Nana from Vermont saying, "Go Castleton." Great to hear that there's more support. We're getting more and more viewers. We're over 50 now at this point. Great to hear the support. We have the draw coming in here, and unfortunately this looks pretty heavy here. It does go through the house here, so I think Kaylee's maybe just been a little heavy to start this game. I'm sure she'll dial the weight in soon, but she's thrown a couple heavy stones her last couple ends. So it looks like Stevens Point here is perfectly content to play some defense. They're not, at this point, they're not looking to craft any offense, try to put guards up, put anything towards the center. Any stone that they see in play, get it out. Unfortunately, this stone is over curling immensely, and that is going to miss. So an attempt to get that one stone that's biting out of play, really make it so that Castleton's going to have to settle for either blanking or taking one in this end. But by missing that rock there, Kaylee has another chance to throw the same stone that she attempted on her first chance. So see if she can take a little bit of heat off this rock. Line looked really good. I've been told, hearing reports now, that there is a chance that there will be a technical timeout between ends at some point. It looks like there is a stone handle problem with one of the stones, and that's a good shot right there from Kaylee. Some may ask, well, is that a bad shot because it didn't get behind the corner guard? I say no. The corner guard doesn't really even matter all that much at this point. Stevens Point's still going to have to hit a rock if they want to play defense here. It splits the house effectively. There's no real double. I mean, maybe Danny Casper makes that double there on the two stones, but I don't think that's especially when you're up 3, I don't think that's going to be a called shot here. They are just, it looks like, going to just try to take out one rock at a time. If they can get the big roll, they'll take it for sure if you're University of Wisconsin Stevens Point. But first things first, let's get a rock out of play. Let's make sure that Castleton, at this juncture, doesn't get more than 2. Ooh, it ticks it. Does it get it out of the rings? From the overhead view here, it looks like it might be, but that is definitely still very close. Castleton's got a couple stones that are just outside the rings here. You know, if both of those stones are maybe up 3 inches, Castleton's sitting 3 instead of sitting just what I think is 1 right now. But we'll have to see later if that stone ends up mattering. But you can clearly see that the strategy for University of Wisconsin Stevens Point is they're not trying to score. They're just trying to prevent scoring from Castleton. And so when Castleton does eventually score, the hope is that it's only for 1 point, and University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point gets to control the game because they'll have the hammer. So that's definitely a strategy that a lot of good teams take. And actually, a team in particular is a team I know from University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point that I played against before. So maybe that's something that is definitely taught out there. There are some elite curling squads out there in the Midwest. So definitely, it's always nice to see. It's refreshing to see teams that are really playing the scoreboard and playing to their strengths. They're not necessarily thinking, I need to score every end. I need to score every end. It's, hey, look, we're up 3. Let's just play some defense. Let's play smart. So that's a nice looking draw there. It looks like there could be a thin double there. Maybe not even so thin, but definitely there's a chance to get both those stones out of play if you're University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. And I'm sure with the way that they've been playing this end, that's probably what they're going to at least attempt, with the miss being, let's at least get one of those stones out of play. The unacceptable miss would be going right through the center of those 2 stones. That would be disheartening, to say the least. So Castleton sitting most likely 2. And we'll see if that is actually 3rd over there, but it doesn't, I would imagine it's not counting. I think based on the body language of both teams, I don't think that's a biter out there. But this looks like a good shot. Can they get both? They get one. They do bump the second one. Are they going to be able to get it out? They aren't going to be able to get it out, but they do sit shot. And that's an excellent shot because not only are they sitting shot, but also based on the line there, you cannot hit this straight backwards. You're just going to jam back into your own yellow and knock that out of play. So if you're Castleton here, you want to hit the inside of that red, get it out of play, or at least get it outside the middle of the 12-foot there, so that that back yellow counts again. And you want to keep your shooter, or the stone that Remy Maynard's about to throw, in play. So this is the hammer rock here. Really great stone there from Dan. So Remy Maynard, sophomore out of Scotia, New York, a place not too far from here. I was actually in Scotia just about 4.5, 5 hours ago myself. Throwing this stone. They're calling hard for line. Oh boy, is this going to overcurl? It looks like it's curling a lot. Can the sweeper hold it? Can they hold it? Oh boy. And it flashes, unfortunately, for Castleton. So it looks like another steal of 1, even though this was not the attempt, not the goal. I'm sure University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point will certainly take it, up 4-0 after 3 ends. Castleton retains the hammer as we go to the 4th end. And with that, I am joined by a good colleague of mine. We got Steve Wood, who's helping chair this event from University of, I guess you're from the University of RPI, but you are here at Schenectady, and you are helping chair this event. Steve, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, Brad. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for joining us on this call. How have things been? I know you were on the call early this morning.
We just had our all-team banquet before this draw, so seating all 85 plus athletes, coaches, and a whole nice spread dinner.
I bet that was a blast.
Club members.
Awesome. How'd that go? Any complaints?
Oh, absolutely not. And there's never a complaint about food here in Schenectady, so that's everybody's leaving with full tummies, and I hear there's leftovers for them coming off the ice.
That's what we like to hear. That's awesome, Steve. I'll take a look quickly. We did wait a little longer, but I do want to look at the scores around the sheets here on 1, 2, and 3 quickly. Looks like over on sheet 1, the Battle of Pennsylvania, it looks like Penn State has a second counter actually in the 12-foot, but a really nice counter there in the middle. There's a port, which they're probably trying to guard here, so they have a chance to steal here and take the lead over the University of Pennsylvania. Over on sheet 2, we have the defending national champion Wisconsin Badgers taking on Colorado State. Colorado State was able to get 2 with the hammer in that 3rd end, so they are starting to claw back into it. Sheet 3, looks like Bowdoin got a steal of 1 in that third end to take a 3-1 lead over University of Nebraska Omaha. And back to our feature sheet here. So again, you see the same strategy for both teams, really. First stone in the house by University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, and Castleton repeatedly, Steve, has actually chosen to ignore those stones that Wisconsin-Stevens Point has put in. So it seems like Stevens Point's trying to play for a force, and Castleton doesn't want to do that.
Understandable, down 4 now. Don't really want to chase that early.
Yep. Absolutely.
Manufacture some points. So.
Makes a lot of sense.
But it makes total sense here that Stevens Point's going to hit any rock that's thrown in the house that's easy to hit out.
Absolutely. Now, ideally, you don't do that, though.
Yeah, that's not great.
That's not the result you're looking for if you're Stevens Point. Obviously, it does keep the house open, so it's not all for naught. But certainly, Castleton will take that. They will gladly, I'm sure, split the house here, which seems to be the call from Abbott Bishop. So we have the looks like
this is Jess, I believe.
The draw coming in.
Jess Hansard.
No, that's the skip is Kaylee. Yes, Jess Hansard is the lead. Is that, yeah, yep. Jess Hansard is throwing the lead rock here. Lefty.
A lot of lefties in this college.
I was noting that earlier on the call. I've seen a lot of lefties here. It seems like maybe our club just has like an inordinately few number of lefties. Maybe that's what it is.
Entirely possible.
Well, this is a good-looking stone from Jess Hansard. Just gonna bite the house, but when you're the hammer team, you just want to get stones in the house. So effectively, you got your 2 there. It's a good start. So it looks like now University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point is actually going to start to tighten up that scoring area. Look like did they call a freeze down to that yellow there?
Yeah, it looks pretty good right here.
It does look really good. And so this is a kind of a differing approach than what we've gone for all game. Steve, maybe you want to explain for the audience what's the benefit of doing something like that as opposed to just hitting?
Well, they don't want to throw up a guard to kind of create any opportunities for Castleton. So playing into the house, enticing, and an open end, continue. This is a great spot because now that yellow rock behind the tee line and the red pretty close to frozen. It's going to be really tough to get that red out without blowing up that yellow.
Absolutely.
So it's more than likely that Castleton will choose to deal with that red rock soon, and neither of those rocks will score unless the shots aren't successful.
Exactly. So that's a really effective way of not only shrinking the scoring area for University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, but also potentially create offense yourself. Unless Castleton wants to deal with that stone. It looks like that stone ended up coming up light. It looks like they wanted to draw on top of it, maybe change the angles up.
Yeah, right. A little jostle there would have been nice.
So missing light was really not optimal for Castleton there. You wanted to at least get something that kind of moved those rocks around. We have some questions in the chat here. First one is, can you lend any insight into curling tournament format? It seems so strange that teams from the same pool will be meeting in the first round of bracket play. Makes no sense. And then the response was that the draw shot challenge determines seeding. Then the same individual asked, I don't know what that means, what is the draw shot challenge? So the draw shot challenge, actually, do you want to take this one, Steve? You can go ahead if you want to take it.
You can go for it.
Okay, all right. Draw shot challenge basically is each team before each pool play game throws 2 draws to the button, so the middle of the rings, the center, as close to the pin as possible. 1 out turn and 1 in turn, or 1 clockwise and 1 counterclockwise, rather, because we have enough lefties here. In turn, out turn is not the fair way to assess it. So 1 in turn, 1 out turn. And optimally, you are able to effectively put it on the button or close to the button with all of those before each game. So you have 6 total stones, and the cumulative average of, I believe, the best 5 of those. I think they throw out 1 of them, but the best 5 of those gets averaged into your score, or maybe gets totaled. And regardless, it's the same thing. You want to have closer to the button scores than other teams. So that does 2 things. One, it does your seeding for this bracket here when you actually get through. So basically, I'll get to that in a second. But the second thing it does is breaks any ties three-way ties specifically in pool play. So we didn't end up having that in any of the pools here, I believe, where it came down to that. But we did have a scenario where it could have come down to that.
Yep.
Where it could have come down to which team was the best at the draw scores, because you have that possible merry-go-round of Team A beats Team B beats Team C beats Team A. How do you decide the tie of who advances? And the draw shot challenge is the way they do that. But getting back to the first thing I said, the draw shot challenge is how they end up seeding these teams for the quarterfinals. So basically, the 4 winners of the pools are guaranteed to be seeds 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the teams that come in second in each pool are guaranteed to be teams 5, 6, 7, and 8. And so since pools have different levels of difficulty, there's no real easy way to balance, pool A versus pool C or pool B, or which one was the, how do we know which team is really the 1 seed? They basically do the seeding for these quarterfinals based off of the draw shot challenge and the draw shot challenge alone, if I'm not mistaken. So that's just the standard USA curling format. And so what ultimately happened is a lot of teams, and it happens, I'll say unfortunately with regards to this comment here, a lot of teams from the same pool just happen by chance to face off, because you have 4 distinct pool teams as the 1, 2, 3, and 4 teams, seeded teams, and you have 4 distinct pool teams as the 5, 6, 7, and 8 teams. And so just by sheer chance, if the best draw score team that's in the playoffs and the worst draw score team that's in the playoffs, well, that's your 1 seed, and that's your 8 seed possibly if the 1 seed ends up being the team that wins the pool and was in the same pool as the 8 seed who came in second in their pool. And so that's exactly what happened, particularly on sheets 3 and 4 here, where it is a rematch of earlier pool play games. It is a concern that some people have, and I've heard grievances about it. Do you have any thoughts on it, Steve?
Well, it's funny, both these teams, as they were announcing the matchups at the team meeting earlier, after all the draw shots have been added up and the results comprised of both teams, were like, oh, great, we're playing out the exact same game we just did earlier, which was a nail-biter, as expected.
Absolutely,
so,
between these 2 teams in particular,
Yeah, so it's not surprising we'd get a rematch of a pool play game. It's kind of very coincidental that it just happens to be 2 hours removed from a previous game.
Exactly.
So it is a little bit of an oddity.
Yeah, I wonder sometimes if competitors would rather maybe not have the best seed, because as it is, draw score challenge, you can argue whether or not it's a fair way of seeding these teams, but I don't necessarily know if there's a better way. This is definitely not a dig on USA curling, but wonder if teams would rather look, I don't care about my seed, I just want to play a new team in the quarterfinals, and if I lose to a tougher team in the quarterfinals versus playing an easier team that I've already played in a pool play game, that's tough to tell. I don't know, but I'm sure there's different lines of thought on that one.
Yeah, definitely differing schools of thought, right? In the quarterfinal, I just want to win, so I'm guaranteeing I'm playing on Sunday.
Exactly. It seems like we addressed the question with the explanation. Very helpful. It is unfortunate to replay teams from the pool, but if you want to win, you got to beat everybody in your way anyways.
That's true.
That's true. And we'll see. Right now, based on the results in sheets 3 and 4, it's actually the opposite result of the teams that won their pool play games. So right now, University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point does have the lead over Castleton, and over on sheet 3, University of Nebraska-Omaha is actually trailing to Bowdoin, with University of Nebraska-Omaha having beaten Bowdoin just yesterday. So we'll see what happens here. Back to the action here. University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point really drawing a nice looking stone on top of that. Some might say that looks like it's doubleable. Well, it would be doubleable, except for those 2 staggered center yellow guards up there. Probably taking that double away, I would imagine.
Still looking at it. It is tough to see from our angle.
Yeah, it's hard to know if they're going to get enough curl on that line. They got to skinny past that high yellow guard just to be able to get to the red. Really, some nice shot making here from University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, especially because for the first 3 ends, I know you weren't here, Steve, they were throwing a lot of takeouts, so I was wondering if they were going to get their draw weight honed in. I've seen that many times where teams throw takeout, and they forget how to throw draws, and they've thrown some just absolute darts this end. So credit to them. Castleton is sitting with a few other biters and counters if they can ever find a way to clear out some junk here. But those staggered center guards in the middle there are really doing them some damage, and feeds into the idea that when you have the hammer, you really don't want center guards, and you don't want staggered center guards.
Right. Definitely makes this shot difficult, but Remy's pretty good.
Absolutely. Some shots on the way from Remy Maynard out of Scotia, New York. I don't know if you heard me say that earlier.
I did. It's close.
So Stone, it is going to hit the outside red. It's going to get enough action where it's actually going to spin wide enough that now Castleton is sitting second count. That shot rock is still there, and it is still pretty close to fully buried. But at least it is no longer sitting two.
Yeah, and you know what, that shot there, it's not making the double, but it is clearing out some of the backing that's protecting that redstone. So
That's right.
It's almost a setup shot. I think they would have loved to have stuck the shooter around somewhere.
They would have, for sure.
Or not lost the one in the back, but...
No, that's a really good point. And I think no matter what, if you're University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point here, you're not going to take everything away here. I think I don't know if the called shot was a guard or draw down to the same exact thing they just threw. Probably, I would imagine, try to just do the same exact thing, put a second one in there.
I agree.
But if it's a guard, you do have that angle run on the other side. You could attempt if you're Castleton. So there is going to be an option for Castleton to get their deuce here, unless Wisconsin-Stevens Point throws another one here. Which this is looking pretty good. It might be a little heavy. They were trying to get it to curl. It's not that heavy, though. It's a little heavy that it doesn't completely glue, but that's still an excellent shot right there.
Yeah, I think it's curled enough that, sure, you can chase the double, but you really need to get as much of that rock as you can, or else it's just going to jam.
It's just going to jam, and really, you can't afford to give up another steal here. It probably is the right shot here. I don't know if there's a better shot. I don't know if that angle raise, like they're the angle run that you see
really
in
this position here with the angle runs. Good idea if you only needed one.
If it was only for one, exactly.
You really need two.
Exactly. And by angle run, for those who are on the call, what Steve and I are talking about is that stone that's kind of off to the left if you're looking down, so not where Kaylee's put her broom, but on the other side with that yellow is kind of biting the top 12. We could see that being run at an angle to try to poke out that red, but it's really hard to do that and get both those reds out. Hard to throw a perfect angle to even hit both those reds, let alone have enough weight to knock them both out.
Pretty similar line, but it is curling a little bit differently.
Now they're trying to hold the line. Are they trying to? It looks like it is. Yep, and that's exactly what Steve was fearing. Hit the stone, but it is just going to be a jam. So it's a steal of one for University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. So halfway through the game, it looks like they have a 5-0 lead, and we will take our halftime break here. While we do that, we will take a look at some of the other quarterfinal matchups here in this championship bracket. Sheet 3, did you see how that ended?
Yeah, it was one red. So
one red, another steal for Bowdoin.
Yep.
So Bowdoin up 4-1 on University of Nebraska Omaha on sheet 3. Sheet 2 here. Looks like University of Wisconsin, Madison, after the blank in the first end, getting a 5 in the second, giving up 2 in the third, got their own deuce in the fourth. So it looks like the two-time defending national champions are definitely rolling, playing the type of game they want to play. And over on sheet 1, and as I've said many times, and I'll say many more times, the Battle of Pennsylvania here. It looks like Penn State was able to get 1, but not 2 in that end that we saw before. And we're in the fourth end, and this is the only game right now that has any action, so we can leave it here for a moment.
Stay here.
Absolutely.
We're on Skip's last rocks here, so I think these are the last 2 stones of the end. Oh, I lied. This is the first skip stone for the red.
For Penn, yes.
So
yeah,
this
Penn
is
State's got 1 more.
3 last stones.
Yeah, Penn's got nothing in the house, so if you want to get your 2, probably you got to just kind of draw in there. I don't think you worry. Do you worry too much? Actually, I'll ask you, Steve. Do you worry too much about those 2 yellow stones out there if you're Penn?
Well, looks like, I guess, what are they, down 1 or up 1 here?
They're down 1.
The 2 blue signs look very oddly similar, but, Jack has great draw weight, so I don't mind this draw behind here.
Yeah, that's Jack Gear.
Right, they're just full 8 foot, so if we just draw this in behind cover, this is a real chance to create a skip's deuce.
Absolutely.
And you're going to make the other opposing skip try to make a difficult shot to get it out. Or you're going to have an option for the same draw for 2.
Absolutely.
This is carrying a little deep.
It is carrying a little deep. Well, safer shot. That's the key.
Well, that one's too close for us as hell.
I don't think it's shot. I think it's second, if I were to guess. It looks like that one, the first yellow, the one that's closer, has probably got more of a piece of that 8 foot, it looks like.
Yeah.
People in the chat here can comment if they think otherwise, but I think that's 1 yellow right now. I think red is second, and I think yellow's third. So
yeah, that's tough.
that is tough because there's really
not much you can do there.
Yeah, no. That's if that stops, 2 inches, 3 inches shorter, then that's a perfectly great result there for Penn. Penn State looks like they're going to follow them down, try to get another counter in there, maybe right on top of that yellow. You can even be a little lighter. Basically force Jack Guerin to make a perfect draw up against possibly 3, if they even bump that red back a couple inches. And we did just get confirmation that sheet 4 has called a technical timeout.
Likely for a substitution.
Well, we had heard that. I actually had heard earlier that apparently there's a handle issue with one of the rocks, possibly.
Oh, okay.
So we'll keep an eye on that.
That's never fun.
No, that's never fun. But yes, they have given the X. So on sheet 4, we will have a little bit of a delay. So for those of you in the audience, we're going to be following some of the other sheets for a while, but you won't be missing any of the action. We'll get you there once that technical timeout has concluded. We'll let you know what color rock and what rock in particular is being fixed. But there is a technical timeout on sheet 4. So we have Jack Guerin, skip for University of Pennsylvania. Lefty, another lefty, throwing a draw for 1 here, it looks like, through that port. You like coming through that port, or you like coming wide here, Steve?
Well, he just nailed it the first time, just carried a little long. I think it's plenty there.
Yeah, I think
based on the
right.
way that his ice is curling. So
repeat the same shot you just threw, and it can probably be the same weight you just threw too. It can
right.
just go right on top of that red.
Top.
Yep.
And that would be a great
shot.
idea. They're just watching it, but watching it closely. Ready to sweep if they need it. Here
Looks
they
like
go.
they're on it now, maybe for line.
I think they're a little concerned. They might touch the top.
Oh boy. Spin it.
Oh, not
Oh
quite.
boy.
Well,
All right,
it might just be 1.
I think it's just 1 yellow. Yeah, it looks like that's what they're signaling by the kick there.
Yep.
So it looks like it's 1 yellow there.
And that's their break.
It is. That is right. So Penn State has a 4-2 lead over the University of Pennsylvania over on sheet 1.
Jump to 2. That's the only one in action.
Sheet 2 has picked up action, and the reason they started so quickly, again, is the first end was a blank where before half the stones were thrown on sheets 3 and 4, sheet 2 was done. So I assume Wisconsin was perfectly content to go bang, 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 and Colorado State was up to the task as well.
I got to talk with Colorado State before this game, and they had actually had a matchup with UW-Madison earlier this year in Western Regionals.
Oh, really?
And it was another nail biter. They said it was a tight game. You just got to make your shots and can't have any bad ends.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
They knew what they were getting into. They're ready to go punch for punch with these guys. So hopefully we'll have a good game the rest of the way.
Absolutely. Now we'll take a look there. Maybe take a look over at sheet 3, which is now started up. Excuse me, sheet 3 there. Started back up. Looks like a guard there for Bowdoin, trying to get keep their stealing groove on. A lot of times you'll see teams get into a groove without hammer, because the advantage of not having hammer is if you score without hammer, you keep not having the hammer. So if you get into a rhythm, I mean, we see that with Wisconsin-Stevens Point over here. Although for a couple of the ends, University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point wasn't even necessarily trying to go for the steal. It just, they're playing good defense, and Castleton had a tough shot at the end.
Yeah, Stevens Point seems to be playing a fairly conservative game, but also forcing Remy to have to make a tough shot. And when you're forced into that much pressure, if you don't make it, scores can add up quickly. So.
Absolutely. So they did end up actually fixing the rock fairly quickly. You happen to see what
I actually
rock
think it was an
that they
injury.
fixed it. Oh, okay. The 4 red. Oh, apparently the number 4 rock for red had an issue. So it was actually one of University of Wisconsin
Yeah,
Stephen.
we've actually got one of the Castleton players in here getting an ankle guard change too.
Oh,
So-
really? You saw that as well? Okay.
Oh, they're going to play with 3 people the rest of the way, I hear.
Oh my goodness!
So,
Wow,
that's tough.
that is tough.
Yeah,
Well,
it looks like Kaylee has been retired from the
Kaylee.
game.
Oh,
They don't have an
that's
alternate.
awful
so-
to hear. Yeah, no, they don't. Oh, that's tough to see. Very hard
Yeah,
hard
she's
to,
been
hard to
doing it.
watch, hard to hear.
She's been doing a great job hopping around on the ice a couple of times, trying to avoid a hard shot with a rock catching in the back. So she's done a good job avoiding it. But
That's good. But,
it's a lot of games.
That's tough to see in the quarterfinals. Played so well, went 3-0 in pool play. The Castleton. And it's rough. When you have one of your key members. I mean, she was basically skipping, holding the room on all the shots.
So for anybody that doesn't know, when you have an injury and you don't have an alternate sub in, you're going to play with 3 the rest of the
You're
way.
playing
That's
with 3.
completely legal,
Yes.
but it certainly changes the lineup a little bit. So now the lead will throw 3 stones instead of 2, and the second will throw 3 stones instead of 2.
Absolutely.
And Remy will throw the last 2 stones.
Yep, so Remy's still throwing the last 2 stones as he was before, but now Jess has gotten a bonus 3rd stone that he's taken from Tanner, and Tanner has taken both of Kaylee's stones. So
We see this all the time in rec curling when we can't find a substitute
yes,
for league
we
play.
do. Yes, we do. For probably much more minor injuries or excuses to not play.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. So, second rock being thrown here by Jess. Jess out of North Haven, Connecticut. Junior, majoring in data science and statistics. So this end seems to be playing to the tempo again of the non-hammer team, and I know you got to be aggressive if you're Castleton here since you're down 5. But is this the time where you try to just ignore stuff, or is it you try one last chance to just get your 2 with hammer and see if you can grind back in it? What do you do?
This is going to be a tough end for Castleton. One, you're adjusting your lineup.
Yeah, that's true.
Different change in stones. You probably want to play pretty aggressive, throw up some guards, and try to draw behind. You're not in a great setup as the way you probably envisioned. But if you're Stevens Point, you want to drop the hammer and throw as many stones into the house, into the middle, that they have to deal with as possible, which is going to create a little bit of chaos probably in the mindset there at the other end of the sheet.
Absolutely. So Jess's 3rd stone upcoming. Now we're past the free guard zone, so you can start to do some clever things. You got to probably got to open that up. That looks like a traffic jam up in the center there.
Absolutely. Might be able to clear 2 guards with this stone.
So big weight coming from Jeff Hansard.
Yes, classic mixed doubles move there.
Mixed
Throw
doubles,
the
yeah,
rock, get up
well,
and sweep.
Hey, power to him. If you're going to play light for the rest of the game, it's nice when you are someone who can deliver with the broom, so you can just get up and help sweep if you need to.
Absolutely.
And that's a
pretty
really
good
nice
shot
run.
to open it up a little bit.
Gosh, man, Jess Hansard's had a couple of those already. I know he's got family watching, so maybe not thrilled with the result of the game for the team, but got to be thrilled for him personally. That's an excellent shot there. And I notice he's wearing his watch on his right wrist, so he's a lefty that goes with the watch on the right wrist. I've heard different trains of thought if you're left-handed where you put that watch on. And I'm sitting next to someone who's not Steve, someone who's right-handed and wears the watch on the right wrist. That's blasphemous. Anyone in the chat, if you think that wearing a watch on the right wrist is acceptable as a right-handed individual, I don't know if we want you here. I'm kidding, of course. So I gave some shout-outs earlier for Castleton and some of the people watching, supporting from the team from Vermont. I also gave a shout-out to some of my friends from University of Wisconsin Stevens Point, but I wanted to go through their roster, see who they wanted to shout out. I had mentioned earlier Charlie Oster, shout-out to his parents. He also wants to shout-out to his grandparents, wants to thank his grandma for keeping everyone updated on the score while everything's going on. So huge shout out. Thank you to Charlie's grandmother for doing that. Additionally, want to give a couple shout outs. the alternate for University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, Ben Bloom. Wanted to give a shout out to his mom, dad, and his dog, Chumley. So, wonder if Chumley's watching. Sorry, Ben's not playing in this game, but his team's looking pretty good right now. So, we have Charlie Oster up now, throwing Vice Rocks, University of Wisconsin, Stevens Point. This end is definitely turned around. I think it all kind of swung on that Jess shot earlier, but still, I think it's just that one biter, it looks like, for yellow. There are still guards in the center, so if University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point can get behind those, it's going to be really difficult for them to repeat it. By them, I mean University of Castleton. And out-turn draws on the way.
Looks a little heavy.
It looks a little heavy, but it's coming down actually pretty nicely. Sweeper's got off it. Remy Maynard's waiting to sweep it, but he's not got much to do there. That's a pretty good-looking shot. It's not above the tee, but it's still a really good shot, almost completely buried. Really the best shot to follow it down is just you draw on top of it, and if you're a little heavy, you can bump it back maybe a couple feet. But really nice shot. Makes that biter on the top really obsolete for all intents and purposes.
Look,
So now you
that
see-
was an impressive
See,
switch over
that's
there.
that's more my style, what we just saw. So for those who are on the stream, obviously you can't see midway, but now you'll see, look who's sweeping this rock right now. So that sweep that we're having right now from
That is
Castleton,
the
that's
shooter,
coming
Tanner.
from, that's Tanner
Yeah.
Schufo. He is a stabilizer deliverer, so you saw his delivery was with the stabilizer. First of all, also that's a fantastic shot. That's
Oh, yeah,
almost as good of a
incredible.
shot as you could possibly throw. But he throws a great shot. He gets up, and because we're on an end sheet here, the 4 sheet, he left his broom over on the side, and so after his delivery, he threw down the stabilizer. He actually also has a step-on slider. He threw that down, and basically just grabbed his broom and started sweeping. So, hats off to him. So now, following it back down, if you're University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, this looks like a really nice shot as well. They're trying to carve it to get it to curl over a little bit. And it bumps it back a little bit, but it does still hang out where I think this is more exposed. I think, based on what I saw before from Tanner, I think there's a good chance you can get across nose here. What do you think, Steve? You think they can get around nose on that red rock there?
Oh, well, the way those last 2 rocks curled, I think anything is possible.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's there.
It does look pretty exposed, though. At least half, so.
Tanner's going to do the same thing again. Get
Yeah,
up,
there
get ready to
goes the
sweep.
stabilizer.
And
Here
he's the
comes the
outside
broom.
sweeper, so if this stone is wide, that's it. That's his stone.
You know, that's 100% strategic, too. They've got him on the outside because they know that the broom's over there.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, this looks like it's going to sail a little wide. You really
Well,
don't want to push this.
Don't want to wick that.
It's actually better that whiffed for Castleton, because if that curled an extra 1/4 inch, you're actually going to bury that red. Well, you're probably never going to get to it. So, unfortunate miss, but it was a miss that was far enough that it didn't actually do any major damage.
Skip
So
rocks now.
Skip rocks, exactly. So, we'll see now what Dan Garrett's can throw up.
Last time it was very enthusiastic.
Going back to Castleton, actually, I didn't give Remy Maynard shout out. It was to his nana and his papa. Also wanted to shout out Jess's sister, who may be watching here. Good. We have a comment here that says just wrong. I'm going off of context clues. I assume that's referring to people who are right-handed that wear watches on their right wrist.
Oh, yeah, no.
Which I agree. It's just wrong.
I am a right-handed person with a left-handed watch.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Oh boy, if my wife's listening, I can't get down this path here. There's a path here where I was going to talk about handedness, but if my wife's listening, she would scream at me. I actually don't know what handedness I am. Fun story, but I'm not going to go down that route.
There you go.
But I do curl right-handed. I'm
Yes.
a right-handed curler, so for all intents and purposes on this stream, I am a right-handed individual. And I do wear my watch on my left wrist.
Sounds like you're natural.
Yeah. So we have Remy Maynard here. That stone is still exposed. Looks like the guard over curled for University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. So really a chance here for Castleton to make that shot that was unfortunately missed by Tanner. Looks like they're choosing to have Jess hold the broom, so Tanner's going to be the inside sweeper now. Remy also a broom deliverer, so he's able to sweep his own stone if he needs to. So looks like this stone's a little on the light side. The line looks good. They just got to keep it going.
The line is great.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
Just get it there.
Keep it going. Never off.
Come on, Jess.
Never off.
Oh, really close.
Really, really close for sure. I wonder why they didn't want to just go for that hit there. Maybe they thought the line wasn't there, or maybe it wasn't going to curl enough.
Maybe.
But
could have just been a hair light, too.
Yeah, it could have been a hair light. Absolutely. But real close, so we'll see if Castleton has a shot in their third one, possibly for 3. Maybe just for 2, but we'll have to see. Might just have to be a pick out, which if it's a pick out, you got to pick it out enough.
Yeah, from my perspective, that pick is a little difficult, but it might be there, just with a little bit of curl.
We got a comment here. Jess's sister is watching from Dublin, Ireland. What is it, like 1 a.m. there now? Like something like that? Maybe mid. Yeah.
That might explain Tanner's call out to Jess's sister.
Maybe. Ooh, it's sailing, but
just not.
Now, it is tapping them. It's actually going to freeze them back. That's not so.
Well,
it's not the worst result because now it at least makes it so that it's unlikely that second yellow ever counts.
That's
but
true.
now there is I think you could get to nose of that yellow, and if you get to nose of that yellow.
Well, now I'm confused because he's drawing around the other way with his last rough.
Really? I'm also confused.
I feel like you would be playing hit on that red to lie to yellow.
Yeah, hit on that red, and maybe like you need a 1/4 inch roll more towards the forefoot.
He must be seeing something we're not seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're going to try to just draw the forefoot coming from the other side. There is some discussion here in the warm room about why they're calling this.
Just seems a little.
Anyone in the chat have any idea maybe why Remy might be drawing this side?
I know our resolution's not 100% here, but it's pretty good.
I'm on sheet 4 right now. The timer who's sitting next to me is on sheet 4. Do you have? Yeah, he says it's wide open, and he's got a better angle than I do.
And he's wrecking.
This draw is definitely over curling. So that's unfortunate for Castleton. That looks like another steal of 1. It looks like just 1. I think the back red is outcounted by the yellow, but it is another steal for University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point.
6-0.
And so it looks like at the end of 5 ends, the game is now 6-0. If we go to sheet 3, Bowdoin scored another 2 in the 5th, so they are now up 6-1 over University of Nebraska-Omaha. So both games that were previously nail-biters, the team that won is now down by many points at this point. So
yeah.
Maybe a little bit of
revenge
is a factor here.
There's only one close game left on the board here.
Absolutely. Is how are we looking on sheet 2? Is that still Wisconsin's
9-2?
9-2. That's unfortunate for Colorado State. Their first time here at Nationals went 3-0 in pool play. They had an excellent first game against I believe that was University of Pennsylvania. Yeah, UPenn. Their first game went to an extra end. They won that.
Right. Yeah, Colorado State curling club started this year because of a transfer, a grad student who's the skip. He used to curl out at Cornell.
Oh, really?
And so now he's at grad school at Colorado State, started up the curling club. It's that simple. So if you're a college kid and you're looking for a club nearby, maybe you could just start your own. It does take a lot of work, but if you find a few friends, it makes it go a little bit easier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Curling's a great game like that. All right, so University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, you can see the skip is coming out to help sweep. They really don't want to guard here. Thank you for switching that. I say you can see, but you probably couldn't see until Steve just bailed me out there. So, Steve, why might they want to be sweeping that to make sure it gets in the house?
Yeah, at this point, you're just trying to play conservative, force them to make points without any guards in play.
Exactly, and they were already doing that even when it was like 1-0 and 3-0, early on in this game. So certainly with 3 ends to go, up 6-0, certainly makes sense.
Yeah, they're definitely in the driver's seat.
Absolutely, just no big ends here. University of Wisconsin Stevens Point certainly willing to give up a one-ender here. If they have to do what they got to do. Castleton obviously is not going to try to allow that. Interesting here now. It looks like, based on the situation, the fact that Castleton rock ended up bumping them a little bit. Now it looks like
it's a choice.
Dan Garrett's is going to switch up strategy a little bit. He's willing to actually throw that guard now.
Yeah.
So he's flexible. If the situation arises where he likes throwing a guard better, he's going to do it. Maybe he was hoping to deke Castleton into a hit game, but
could be.
Remy was not willing to do that. Sweeper's pushing this. It's a really nice sweep from Sierra there.
No, that can't be it.
And that's going to sit right on top.
This is not Manitoba.
So it looks like there's a pile there. Hard to see if there's really going to be a double. I think that red is going to just bump out that yellow if you try the double, but it looks like Remy is going to actually call that here. Maybe he might like the idea of maybe sitting on top of a red. Maybe he's not actually going for the true double here with Jess, but we'll see.
Yeah, just kind of running it.
Tanner's on it hard, trying to keep this from overcurling. Zone looks pretty close. So
definitely separated the yellows.
Yeah, I mean I wasn't necessarily seeing exactly how much separation they would get there. I knew the red would jam on the yellow, but I wasn't thinking how much it would bump it. That's a really nice result right there. I mean there are no corner guards. I'd like to be a little bit more aggressive with guards here, but I don't mind that result there at all. They found a way to split the house with a wide open stone in the center.
Yeah, now the pointer's going back to the classic hit game.
Absolutely.
Change out the color, make it red.
Yep. Ideally keep hitting and ideally making it so that Castleton's eventually going to hit and spill possibly.
Good enough.
Yeah, when you're the team that's playing defense, it doesn't matter as much if you spill, or if you're the team that needs points, you have to throw perfect hits. You got to hit. You got to make sure you get the perfect roll. So Remy's trying to call a hit and roll here, but that roll can't go out of play. Otherwise, you know what University of Wisconsin Stevens Point is going to do. They're just going to hit that yellow stone there.
Got to stay around.
Yeah, got to stay around here.
It's the only way scoring 2, and the only way to score more than 2 is with a miss.
It does look like, though, that Castleton is willing to play for 2 and see what happens here.
Sure.
It looks like they're not trying to get any more than just 2.
Yeah, it's an interesting predicament, right? Nobody plans to be down 6-0.
Yeah, that's
with
very
3
true.
ends, with what, 2.5 ends to go now, and yeah, that's an unfortunate flash
Unfortunate
there.
miss, yeah. So a miss there from Jess. And once again, University of Wisconsin Stevens Point is going to hit that yellow out of play. No guards in play. Really going to be hard for Castleton to craft their offense here. Any way they can craft offense is probably going to require perfect freezes, perfect shots that are just extremely high level of difficulty.
Yeah, and most likely a big double.
That's right.
This looks like it's all over it. That's
Hit and roll on top.
pretty darn good there.
It really is. I mean, I don't know how you even double those stones. Now, it's not a bad result if you hit and stick on top. Then it works as a freeze here. So
Sure.
I don't mind what Remy's doing here. But you're never expecting to double with this. Those are just 2 glued together and 2 aligned.
Ooh, bit of an extension there. Making contact. Oh, wow. He almost made that double there, bro.
That's huge action. Oh, my goodness. That is a absolute rocket that was just thrown.
They throw it hard enough.
Tanner. It did get a lot of roll on that red. Now, however, I don't know if that result actually is all that helpful to the end.
They're in a rocky situation.
Yeah, no, they are,
Yeah.
admittedly.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but now that red stone is not behind it, I am sure that Dan Garrett's is perfectly happy with that result anyway, so it's fine. I'll just hit that stone right back. It actually would have been probably nicer if that one stone just stuck around.
And definitely the red being on the outside there's one of the harder hits to make on the sheet. This is going to roll. Nope. Well, we got a chance at a double again. Or a hit and roll freeze to the side. That'd be nice. Instead, we got to draw around.
We got a comment here. College curling needs more colleges to compete, then come to the Rice Lake Curling Club's college spiel. Hey, all for
Rice
the
Lake
advertising.
already advertising for next year.
Yeah, that's right.
That's good. I think Bowdoin's already announced their bond spiel for next year. RPI has one traditionally.
Yeah,
in
RPI College Spiel
December
that
every
we
year.
host here in Schenectady. Yep. And it's rinse and repeat right now if you're University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. Just keep taking rocks out of play. Also will lead to some quick ends, usually when you're throwing takeouts. Less complex strategy, faster rocks moving down the ice. Game just moves along a lot quicker. Can't wait till a school finally gives curling varsity status. Yeah, right now it's really just at the club level, right? Yeah, they don't really have a lot of organized varsity type thing. But I mean, that goes for curling just in general, I feel like. You know, curling is just more of a club-wide type of association. That's why there's really, it's hard to get those professional, quote-unquote, leagues. You know, even if you say, like, oh, you know, I talk to people who don't know anything about curling and ask, oh, Bradley, you know, are you like an Olympian? And it's like, well, no. Are you a professional? Well, it's professional. Like, it's hard to really call yourself a professional curler. So it is a bit of a niche thing.
We did get handshakes over on sheet 2, so Wisconsin-Madison is final
Sheet
over
2.
Colorado State. 13
So congratulations to
2.
Colorado State for a great run. Really great debut performance from them. Certainly nothing to hang their heads over. That they had an excellent performance in their pool play and just ran into a buzzsaw, two-time defending national champion Wisconsin team that, after losing an early game in pool play, has come today with come out with fire. So we'll see University of Wisconsin-Madison tomorrow in the semifinals. They have not been a feature sheet yet. I believe I had to. They're such polite individuals. The parents were unbelievably polite, but it was the first time we switched feature sheet from feature sheet 3 to sheet 4. We're doing it again tonight, but we did it previously, and we got Yale in on a game, and basically had to explain that we were switching to sheet 4 to try to give some other teams some feature times, and we were saying, Wisconsin, you got to keep winning so we can get you on a feature game at some point.
Warm room with a round of applause here for both teams as come on.
Absolutely, and well deserved. Well deserved.
So Wisconsin-Madison moves on to play tomorrow morning, semifinals. Not sure who they're going to play yet.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
It'll be the winner of one of these games.
Yeah, do you know what seed that was? It could have. It all depends on what the seeding was. Colorado State, I thought, was like the 4 seed, so that could have been the 4-5 matchup. So they'll probably play the winner of the 1-8 matchup. That's my guess.
That's my guess also.
Yeah, Steve's looking it up now for those of you in the audience. Question here is, how many curlers this weekend have junior playdown or national experience? I don't know the answer to that.
You know, it's actually really interesting. College curling is really built on the back of new curlers.
A lot of times, absolutely.
So most of the clubs are, taking in members that all start their freshman year, sophomore year, so they have less than 5 years of experience most of the time.
Most of them, yeah.
I would say, looking through the rosters that came in this year at College Nationals, we had actually a large contingent of players who have curled and junior curling before they came to college. So there is a lot more experience out there on the ice, and I think that's paying off in higher quality curling too.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know the University of Nebraska Omaha team that's playing right now on sheet 3. I know, I think it's Sawyer Hager. I think Isaiah actually is vice tonight. Both of them I know have experience in different ways. Isaiah is still a newer curler, but he did. I think he competed at Arena Nationals, and Sawyer himself was a U21 competitor. He's in his 6th year now, so There are varying levels of experience here, but Steve's exactly right. Generally speaking, college curling, a lot of the people that you end up seeing are newer curlers.
We're not finding the answer to our question, Brad, on the
Oh, in
USA
terms of the
Curling
seeding?
website. Yeah.
Well, we have an answer. I don't know if you want to ask there quickly or not. Do you know who Madison is? What seed they were, and what in the bracket? We got a USA curling official. The Battle of Pennsylvania. So the winner on sheet 1 will play University of Wisconsin-Madison. So that means these two sheets here will play each other here on the winners of 3 and 4. So if results hold here, it could be a Bowdoin versus University of Wisconsin at Stevens Point matchup. But still too early to call it.
So that makes sense. I think you were correct. That was a 4-5 matchup, and Penn is 1.
Oh, it was? Okay, yeah.
Penn State is 8.
Yeah, I remember Colorado State, they won their pool, but I know they had DSC scores that were low. So if I know, based on what I had explained earlier in this stream, to
Sorry,
the audience
apologies.
here.
Penn State, I think, is the first seed, and
Penn State's
is
the 1 seed, okay.
8.
Gotcha. That's right, yeah, it makes sense that Penn was an 8 seed too, because I remember this morning they were in a situation where if they did not win their game against Minnesota, they were not going to advance into the quarterfinal round because their draw scores were suboptimal.
Great
Really
shoot.
nice shot on sheet 3 for Sawyer. Able to get, I believe, two yellow to get back in that game there. So we will definitely keep an eye on that. Castleton did take their one here. So now Castleton is on the board. They're down 6-1. A little bit of a sarcastic cheer there from Remy Maynard, but they are on the board. There are
just
2 ends to
one
play.
makes a big difference.
Absolutely, there are 2 ends to play. At least give it one try here in the 7th end. Try to craft something, see what you can get.
Yep, gonna need 2 great ends.
Hearing in the chat. The answer was actually already here. Wisconsin will face either Penn State or UPenn. Thank you, Jacob Feldman in the chat. A Big Ten semifinal and a D3 semifinal. Let's take a look quickly at sheet 1. See what's going on over there in that big battle over there. So it looks like Penn State leads by a score of 4-3. And they have the hammer in this 6th end, and they're sitting really pretty. Jack Guerin's going to have to throw some excellent draws here, I would imagine, because this is this could be a dangerous end. This could be a game clincher for Penn State if results hold where it looks right now.
Yeah, Penn State's about to draw in another.
Remy does have experience on the junior circuit. Makes sense based on the takeout he threw in that first end. If those of you who were watching remember that, that was a I have experience curling level shot. A lot of the juniors I know can throw absolute just missiles and throw them straight as an arrow where you get no curl out of them, and they hit broom. They hit broom. I can throw a missile, I just don't hit broom.
I almost threw a missile into the pole the other day. Yeah, Stevens Point looks like they have quite a few years' experience coming into this season.
Absolutely.
7, 8, 9, 10 years of experience between each one of them. So
that's right. Really good shot there, by the way, from Penn State. So we'll check in on that right at the tail end of that end. There's 4 stones left, but the Battle of Pennsylvania, University of Penn, is in a very difficult spot. Jacob saying he follows some of these guys from his days in juniors. That's awesome.
We got a no-tick rule employed there, so yellow was moved off the center line, so they've reset the stone.
Okay. Can you explain for those in the audience who might not be as familiar with the no-tick rule what that is?
So we have the 5-guard free rock rule, or 5-rock free guard rule. First 5 rocks on the stone can't be taken out. But at the same time, if there's a center line guard, touching the center line, you can't move it off of the center line until that 5 rock rule is over with. So if that happens, they could choose to leave the result, or they could choose to act like the shot never happened, remove the opposing stone from the ice, and put the center line guard back where it was. So that's what they chose here.
Seems reasonable. I would say if you're down 5 with 2 ends to play, you probably want that center line guard.
For sure, for sure. And you definitely don't want that other red stone available for Stevens Point, so take that right out of there.
This is, to Castleton's credit, this is a pretty good setup right now that they got.
This is what they needed.
Another stone. Is this another violation, or is this past? Are we?
Yeah,
no, we're
it
not
is.
past. We're not past the free
No.
guards unrule. Yep,
No.
that was Ryan Wojciech's shot.
They've
So.
reset the stone again.
Yep, reset it again.
Poor center guard does not
guess
want to
it's-
stay where it is.
It's not a bad thing. If you're Stevens Point, not a bad thing to try to make the shot. You know, worst case scenario, it just comes out of play. Going out of play isn't necessarily a bad thing. I assume they're just going to try to blast things out of play as soon as we get past this front free.
They're not necessarily in a position where they need to score too. They
Exactly.
probably would love to score, but
Yeah, so the
they
fact
also
that
don't care if anyone scores.
Exactly. So the fact that their stones are being taken out of play here, really not a big, deterrent for them.
This is a light one.
Yeah, this looks really light. Unfortunately, this stone here.
Really working it.
You're gonna see their heads, but never see that stone until it's kicked across. That really light. They wanted to throw a high guard there. Really make sure that they got as many rocks in front before Sierra starts blasting these stones away. But actually, in surprising fashion, now they're going to actually try to draw behind. I'm a bit surprised here. What do you think, Steve? Stevens Point here.
Yeah,
trying to draw behind.
free guard rules over. I'd probably just try to peel them, clear it all, and if you take your one at the end of the end, that's probably fine. But
And
they went with
really
the draw.
unfortunate if this ends up being light and that being another guard.
Sorry, I'm just peeking over to sheet 1. It looks like UPenn
Oh, you
tried
want-
to make their
you go
draw
over there
in
quickly?
to cut the score, but they ended up short. So now Penn State's going to be left with an open draw for 5.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, let's take a look at this shot. While we're waiting for the shot to be thrown, that's a risk you run right there. Back on sheet 4, what we just saw. If you're trying to draw behind in an end where you're trying to keep it wide open and not give them a steal, I mean, you really don't want to leave that draw short like that
Sure.
just happened there. That's just an extra
Yeah,
guard
through
over
is
on
better
sheet
than
4.
short.
Exactly,
Through
through
is
would have been way
better
better than short. Exactly. So.
You're just giving them something to hide.
Exactly. So Castleton hogs a rock, but then after hogging the rock, you basically get a bonus stone there. And now they're throwing another guard here.
Penn State's
on sheet 4. Just
Penn
letting
State's
the
draw
audience
that we're
know.
seeing right now is so close to the sideboard. The guys can barely stand on the ice while they're sweeping it. But they're definitely going to get it by, and it looks
that's
like
it.
it's going to stick around.
That's it for 5.
That's a draw for 5
And Penn
for
State
Penn
takes a
State.
6-point lead going into the 7th. That may be a game sealer right there
Might be.
for sure. We just had gotten a comment about I'd call Penn State UPenn the Keystone Clash. Well, it definitely it's a good name for it. But unfortunately, it seems like UPenn is going to have an uphill battle here with 2 ends to play.
No handshakes.
No handshakes. Gonna
Playing in the
give it a
turnaround.
try. They do have an end with hammer. You get a 3 or a 4, you still got a chance. Yes, so this is quarterfinals. This is an elimination game. So unfortunately, the losers of tonight's games will be done. There is a consolation bracket, but that was for teams that did not get out of pool play originally. That started at 4 o'clock earlier today.
So that was a nice tap there. Line 2.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. If you're Castleton, this is what you needed. And now it looks like Dan Garris is now going to start opening things up.
Yeah, it's almost what we call in the curling world the peel of shame.
The peel of
Trying
shame.
to peel your own rock that
That's
you left
right.
up there.
Yep, get
But
that out
they're
of
going to
play.
run it back anyway.
Yep. And it takes 2
All right.
yellows out of play.
That's all it needed to do.
There is still the yellow behind that 1 red, but that's a great shot there if you're University of Wisconsin Stevens Point or a fan of theirs. That has made it so that not only is the chance of a big steal minimized, but also just even taking your 1 is a much easier shot down the stretch here.
That was a great shot, big weight.
Absolutely.
Back to Tanner and the impressive stabilizer drop, broom pickup.
So if Penn State hangs on against Penn State will take on University of Wisconsin at Madison. And if results hold as they are right now on sheets 3 and 4, we will see a potential matchup between University of Wisconsin Stevens Point and Bowdoin. That being said, it's not over. There's still an end and a half left of these sheets here. Charlie Oster with a massive takeout weight here.
Yeah,
Let's see if
real low to this rock too.
What was that?
So he gets real low to the rock.
He does get real low. A lot of weight, a lot of mass behind that that stone.
Didn't get the perfect run back, but he angled it off to the back one.
Yep.
So now we've got one yellow out of play and their line shot.
That's right. And it's wide open. What do you do if you're Castleton here? Do you just take that red out and just hope for a miss at this point?
Yeah, I've been in this position before. I'm not taking that rock out. That's going to limit you to 2 probably.
It is probably going to limit you to 2.
I'm probably trying to freeze to it and try to manufacture an option for 3. Of course, then what is Stevens Point going to do? They're going to come down and hit the open rock and lie. So you're probably first and third, and then you just come down, hit your own, and get your 2.
Yeah.
But the only option at 3 is if you keep that red around for protection.
Yeah, only chance for 3, but you'd need back-to-back flashes or decisions to avoid going for those hits. Yeah, I agree. I think I like the freeze, at least on the first shot here from Remy, but looks like they're going to go for the hit. Maybe hope for a little bit of a flash. I don't know if there's such a thing as a little bit of a flash. You kind of either flash or you don't. But
we also have to remember that Stevens Point's got a hammer, so
yeah.
You know, the red's going to have the last rock, so can't 100% trade hits and
right.
score.
Don't hate that result there. I mean, it does leave a potential double, but at least the, if you do get a flash or 2 here, then if you get a flash or 2 here, then you could get your steal here.
Yeah,
but it looks like they're going to try the double. Even just getting 1 stone out of play is fine.
Absolutely. Real quick to make that decision, didn't even think about it.
Exactly. The John Schuster may be playing for the combined college spiel and mixed doubles spiel in Rice Lake, Wisconsin at the Rice Lake Curling Club. First weekend in December. A lot of advertising here for that Rice Lake Curling Club here.
That's all right.
Absolutely.
There's a lot going on in the curling world every season. On spiels all over the place.
Miss along the way from Dan Garrett's here.
Perfect double.
And a perfect double. Man, they are on right now. Everything's working, and
they're feeling the mojo.
Yeah, I mean now this may be handshakes after this end ends. We'll have to see. Remy Maynard is going to try to take it out, and then has to hope for a flash to get a steal of 1. But regardless, even if that does happen, it is still going to be a 6-2 game at best for Castleton. At worst for University of Wisconsin Stevens Point. Stevens Point's really played a superb game. A lot of made shots here on sheet 4. Ooh, a shot from Remy. Is going to get a piece. Is it going to be enough to get it out? It is.
It is.
But I think that's game right there, and that's handshakes. Yep, that's handshakes on sheet 4. So an excellent performance by Castleton. Unfortunately falls short in the quarterfinals, but nothing to be ashamed of. But here on sheet 4, final score 6-1 officially after 6 ends. University of Wisconsin Stevens Point avenges their loss from earlier today and will advance to the semifinals tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 a.m. for those who are watching from Stevens Point. So congratulations to them. we'll continue some footage of feature sheet action here. Change what our feature sheet is. Maybe change it over to sheet 3, which is the closest game on the scoreboard right now.
The winner of this game will play now Wisconsin-Stevens Point in the next round.
That's right.
Oh, we
And
just
that
saw
handshakes right there. And so we have handshakes on sheet 3.
So that's
Where
Bowdoin.
Bowdoin has defeated and avenged their loss from yesterday against the University of Nebraska Omaha. So we now have Bowdoin officially locked in for a date with University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point tomorrow morning at 8:30. And so that leaves us with just the one sheet in play right now.
The Keystone Clash, I believe we said we were supposed to call it.
That's right, sorry. Yes, the Keystone Clash.
That's a beautiful hit and roll, though. They just lined up in a perfect line.
Absolutely.
Score is 9-3, so it's going to be a bit of a grind.
Certainly will. What's the minimum you'd want to score here with Hammer to keep playing?
As many as I possibly can, Brad. Any more than 0 is great.
Yeah, that's right.
But it is tough to come back down 6 with only 2 ends to go.
Absolutely.
We're only halfway through this end, though, so
Yeah, still plenty of time.
plenty of rocks to go.
Still 62 members in the chat. We appreciate you all for watching our feature game today. Definitely, appreciate you all. Thank you for watching the feature game. We will stay in coverage until all the games are concluded. But if you have any final parting thoughts, questions, concerns, feel free to put them in the chat now. Just like that, we dropped to 55. So I drew people's attention to it, and then they darted out of here. But, I spent a lot of fun calling games. Appreciate people putting stuff in the chat. Penn State trying to blast out that red rock.
Yeah.
Ideally get a double, but it looks like this is going to be wide enough where it's not going to get the double per se. It's just going to hit that wider red. That's okay. Any stone out of play is probably a good shot for Penn State.
Round of applause here. This is for Nebraska Omaha coming into the room.
You'll hear clapping here in the warm room as teams have exited the ice.
Bowdoin's going to come in right behind them, and then from our feature sheet, they'll be following shortly behind.
That's right. And well deserved. These college kids really had an incredible weekend. So it's for some, their journey continues tomorrow morning. For others, it's a great experience. As I was saying on my broadcast earlier, a little like fun broadcast we had. We were covering all different sheets, like NFL Red Zone style. Where I had to cover with some University of Nebraska Omaha people. We were mentioning that at the end of the consolation round, every team that was here at Nationals got at least one victory this weekend.
There you go.
And so that's awesome
All
to
you
see.
can ask for.
Absolutely. All 16 teams here in Schenectady, New York will emerge with at least one victory at USA Curling Nationals 2026. Thank you, Mr. Turkey Shorts. Appreciate the shout out. Says thanks, you guys were awesome. Nice run, Castleton.
There's Castleton coming into the room with a warm applause. Followed shortly by Stevens Point.
Yep. And there is truly just the one sheet we have on here in the stream.
You had a nice draw in there to freeze on that top button. It's not quite frozen, but it's in a really good spot.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you got to do if you're Penn.
Coming big weight here, though.
Boom.
Yeah, it just hits the open one. That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be hard for Penn to really craft a ton more. They're just going to have to keep perfectly freezing, maybe corner freezing on top of their stones here.
Definitely going to need a miss or two.
Yeah, they could use that. That'd be useful. I mean, it looks like right now if Penn State wanted to try to run those yellows back, definitely the angle. It'll probably jam maybe on this back yellow here, but
yeah, it's one of those weird parts of curling where it's okay to eliminate one of your own stones as long as the other one goes with it.
Yeah. It's also okay to throw up a guard and just say they're not going to get more than one this end.
Yeah,
We're up
Take your
6.
one.
You want one? Good luck stealing 5 in the 8th end. Stone
Another
on
draw.
the way here.
It's a little short,
Little short.
but it is a protective stone.
It is protective of what looks like their shot rock. Obviously, they're not playing for one here, but it's okay. Looks like they want to. Penn State wants to just guard on top of it.
Doing exactly what you were
Exactly
forecasting
what we were
there.
mentioning. Exactly. Sure. You want to take your one with your, scoring area. That's what, maybe a foot and a half in radius. Not even that. A foot in radius here. Sure.
Steal one, and then we'll have the hammer in the 8th end, still being up 5 points. That's going to be, again, an uphill battle.
Absolutely.
Shots away. Really sweeping this rock most of the way, but the weight looks pretty good.
Let's see. All right, good enough. Again, you're not doing any harm there if you're Penn State. We're going to skip rocks for Jack Gearin now.
I feel like the tap is still somehow there.
I think so.
Just to tap it up to that side of the 4-foot, maybe. You really just want to open that middle. If you can advance that one into the 4-foot and roll the shooter a little bit left, then it gives you an opportunity to come down and blast the center and maybe get away with 3.
I think that's what you need here. You got to try to find a way to get 3.
Yeah, 1 is not enough.
Yeah, this is the fun part of when you're watching curling. This is where you got to try some fun shots, possibly.
It does look like that's what they're going to go with. They're going to try and draw and tap their own red.
Yeah, good call there.
Oh, we got an inquiry from the front end.
What was that?
An inquiry coming in from the front end.
Oh yeah, coming all the way out to check in on this.
They're looking at some other run back now.
Okay. I like it. Talking with Luke Cryer there, the vice from UPenn.
Not sure where they are on the time clock, but it seems like they're a little bit concerned about the time.
Well, you can always make up time later.
This is going to be a long run back double.
Yeah, it looks like it. Try to run yellow back into red, and red into red, and hopefully have 2 in the 4-foot there.
Another lefty.
Yep, another lefty, Jack Gearin. Joseph Katz on the sweep up. Now they're actually going to be pushing it instead.
It's pretty close.
And it looks like it's just going to
Okay,
open it
just
up.
open it up.
Not super heavyweight anyways. Not that they necessarily wanted heavy weight, but
Yeah, probably not heavy enough to do what they were hoping.
So now it looks like they're only going to be playing for 2, and even then, it's going to be difficult to see how they actually get there 2. But
we got handshakes.
oh, we got handshakes. All right. So congratulations to the Penn State Nittany Lions. Lost their first game in pool play. That was on the feature sheet, but since then have been undefeated and are now going to face the 2-time defending national champion Wisconsin Badgers in the semifinal tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So our 4 semifinalists are Penn State, Wisconsin at Madison, Wisconsin Stevens Point, and Bowdoin. So we will see those games tomorrow along with the consolation semifinals as well. So all 4 sheets will be running tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. I will be on the call. Steve, you might be on the call.
Maybe. We'll see.
We'll see. You'll be here at least.
Oh, yeah, I'll be here.
Perfect. Well, congratulations to UPenn as well for a great run that they had. They had a great game. Got to call 2 of their games this week, so honestly, nothing to hang their heads over. But with that, we are now done with all 4 sheets. All 4 quarterfinals are completed. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today, or tuning in tonight. We will now sign off. I'm Brad Johnson.
I'm Steve Wood.
And have a great night, everyone.